Assalamualaikum and good day to everyone. So we are the last reporter for this course. I am Nurullah Mahmad and we will going to discuss the Appendix A entitled Project Human Resource Management and Project Risk Management. The people are always the most valuable resource in ensuring effective delivery. So, in doing a project or program, ang una natin kakailanganin is ang mga tauhan or ang mga tao na gaganap sa mga project na ito para maging effective and maayos ang pag-deliver or pag-conduct ng mga project. The team members need to be carefully selected, trained and effectively supported throughout the lifespan of the project. Of course, ang mga staffs or members ng isang project is kailangan nila mag-undergo ng mga training and seminars upang maging fully equipped sila sa pagpapatakbo ng isang project. You must give team members constant encouragement and recognition for their work. So, as a manager, kailangan natin iparamdam or ipakita yung ating appreciation sa ating mga staff members sa kanilang trabaho para magkaroon sila ng encouragement na mapagbutihan pa ang kanilang trabaho. Leadership is crucial in project management. Generally, project managers have to exercise a considerate leadership skill. Of course, sa isang manager, kailangan niya magkaroon ng leadership skills upang maging successful ang pag-manage niya sa isang project. So, basically, kailangan marunong siyang mag-manage ng kanyang members and the project itself. Management can be defined as the art of getting others to do what you cannot necessarily do yourself by organizing, controlling, and directing resources. So, ang isa sa trabaho ni manager is ang pag-organize, control, and pag-direct ng resources upang maging effective ang isang project. Since si manager na nasa kanya na ang knowledge and skills, kailangan niya ma-handle ang kanyang staff members sa kanilang mga trabaho. Dahil hindi kakayanin ni manager na akuhin lahat ng trabaho ng siya lamang. So, kailangan niya ng organized, controlled, and directed na mga staff members and resources. Leadership is the ability to identify what has to be done and then select the people who are best able to tackle it. So, as a leader, kailangan kilalanin mo ang mga staff members mo pagdating sa kanilang attitude, skills, and knowledge para malagay mo ang tamang tao sa tamang trabaho. Dahil isa dapat sa katangian ng leader ang marunong mag-identify kung sino ang magaling sa kanyang mga staff members. Lastly, leadership is also about setting goals and objectives and generating enthusiasm. Choosing the right project leader is critical to the success of any project. So, in short, nakasalalay sa leader ang success ng isang project. So, dapat sa isang leader is magaling siya mag-set ng goals and objectives sa kanyang project na pinamumunuan. So, let us proceed sa characteristic of a good project manager. So, sa isang leader or manager, kailangan niya ma-adapt ang mga sumusunod na characteristics. So, number 1, positive attitude. So, kailangan sa isang project manager is may pleasing personality and hindi matare or masungit. Also, kailangan may positive attitude siya para maging positive din ang environment na maki-create niya. So, ang number 2 is common sense. So, sa isang manager, kailangan may common sense siya sa mga bagay na nangyayari sa kanyang paligid. So, hindi na niya kailangan pang pagsabihan dahil madali lang niyang magigets or mauunawaan ang mga dapat na gagawin. So, number 3 is open-minded. So, kailangan open-minded siya sa lahat ng usapin at issues na pwede niyang makaharap. At para iwas discrimination, stereotype, or prejudice. So, number 4 is inventiveness. So, dapat din sa isang manager is marunong siyang mag-invent or marunong siya sa tinatawag na initiatives. So, if may lacking or unforeseen circumstances is madali niya itong malalampasan. So, number 4 is prudent risk takers. So, you will never know kung di mo masusubukan. So, kailangan sa isang manager is maging flexible. And hindi lang sa comfort zone naka-stay. Kailangan niya din mag-take ng risk upang magkaroon ng try and error. So, dito, matututo siya kung paano ang magiging strategies. Number 6 is fairness. So, basically, kailangan sa isang manager is wala siyang bias and maging pantay-pantay ang trato niya sa lahat ng kanyang mga staff and members. So, lastly, number 7, we have commitment. So, kailangan sa isang manager is may commitment siya sa kanyang trabaho. Hindi siya ningas kugun, which is sa una lang magaling or sa una lang interesado. So, need na maging consistent siya and mapakita niya yung determination or commitment niya sa kanyang trabaho. So, that will be all for my part and let's hear the discussion of my co-reporters. So, thank you for listening.
So good day everyone. So this is Mohamida Alim. So this is my part. Effective teamwork. Effective teamwork is important in good project management. All groups can be expected to go through 5 stages. They might move back and forth between stages before they move on to the next one. It is up to the project manager to help the group to move on to the next stage to achieve the goals of the project. So effective teamwork means that everyone in the group works well together towards a common goal. So they communicate, collaborate, and use their unique skills to achieve something great. So, an example of teamwork is like sa ang isang koponan ng mga worker sa isang pabrika na kung saan nagtatrabaho sila ng magkakasama para makabuo ng mga produkto. Like halimbawa, yung bawat miyembro ng koponan is may mga kanya-kanya silang mga tungkulin at responsibilidad. Ngunit nagtutulungan sila upang maabot yung mga target ng productions. So sa pamagitan ng magandang sa pagkakaroon ng magandang teamwork is yung mga member ng koponan is nagkakaroon sila ng malasakit at pag-unawa sa bawat isa. Sila ay nagtutulungan sa pagbabahagi ng kanilang mga gawain at nagbibigay rin sila ng suporta sa isa't isa at nagkakaroon sila ng open at malinaw na communication. So sa effective teamworks, we have 5 stages. The first is forming, which is ito yung kung saan ito yung simula ng koponan kung saan yung mga members is nagkakakilala at nagtatayo sila ng mga pundasyon ng kanilang mga samahan. Sa stage na to is maaari magkaroon sila ng pag-aalangan at pagtatanong sa mga goal at responsibilidad ng bawat isa. Number 2 is storming, which is ito yung stage na kung saan maaaring magkaroon ng mga alitan at pagkakaiba ng mga paniniwala at idea sa loob ng isang koponan. So, yung mga membro is naglalaban-laban at nag-a-adjust sila sa mga pagkakaiba ng bawat isa. And the third is norming, which is stage na to is yung mga member ng koponan na kung saan nagkakaroon sila ng pagkakasunduan at mga alituntunin sa paggawa ng trabaho. Nagkakaroon sila ng harmony at pagkakaisa sa loob ng koponan. And the fourth is performing. Ito naman yung sa stage na to is kung saan ang koponan is nagtatrabaho ng mahusay at nagkakasama para maabot yung mga goal nila sa isang project. So yung mga member is nagbibigay sila ng kanilang contribution at nagtatrabaho ng may coordination. And the last is the adjourning. Ito naman yung huling stage kung saan yung project is nagtatapos na at ang mga koponan is naghihiwa-hiwalay na. So maaari magkaroon ng mga pagpapasalamat at pag-alala sa mga naging karanasan nila sa loob ng koponan. So next is the conflict, which is conflict can happen in any project, especially when different people or groups work together. So they might have different goals or interests, which can cause disagreements. So projects and contracts can also create conflict. So like halimbawa ng conflict sa work is like yung hindi pagkakasundo na sa pagitan ng dalawang empleyado tungkol sa pagbabahagi ng mga responsibilidad nila sa isang project. So yung isa sa kanila is naniniwala na dapat magkaroon ng mas malaking bahagi ng trabaho, samantalang yung isa naman is nag-assert na dapat pantay-pantay yung pagbabahagi ng mga gawain. So doon nagkakaroon ng conflict. So to resolve these conflicts, so the project team and stakeholders need to be motivated and work together. And last is the conflict management. So it is the art of managing and resolving conflict creatively and productively. So the art of conflict management is to channel these conflicts so that the result is positive rather than destructive. So in short is conflict management means finding ways to address and resolve conflicts in a way that is constructive and beneficial rather than destructive or harmful. So, ang example ng conflict management is like sa isang team, sa isang work, na kung saan may magkakaibang mga idea at pananaw. So, instead na magkaroon sila ng malaking alitan at hindi pagkakaintindihan, so yung conflict management is magagamit nila ito para malutas yung yung pagkakaiba at maghanap ng kompromiso. Like, halimbawa, instead nga na mag-away yung mga miyembro ng teams tungkol sa project, so maaaring gamitin nila yung conflict management para magkaroon sila ng malasakit sa bawat isa at magtulungan sa pagbuo ng isang solusyon na magpapabuti sa kanilang gagawing project.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day everyone. I am Dr. P. Angkol from Group 11 and the topic that assigned to me is all about project risk and project risk management. So without further ado, let's just get started. So let's start with project risk. Project risk refers to the sum of all individual project risks that might affect a project. It is the possibility of something going wrong in a project. It can be anything from a small delays to a major setbacks. So when estimating overall project risk, you will need to consider all the positive and negative risks that your project might be subject to, including their likelihood and potential impact. So, project risk can be caused by a variety of factors, including unforeseen events. These are events that cannot be predicted or controlled, such as natural disaster or economic downturns. Second is human error. This is the most common type of project risk. It can be caused by anything from a simple mistake to a deliberate act of sabotage. Third is the technical problems. These are problems with the technology that is being used to complete the project. They can be caused by anything from a software bug to a hardware failure. Next is the external factors. These are factors that are outside of the project manager's control, such as changes in government regulation or the actions of competitors. Project manager can use a variety of techniques to manage project risk. These techniques include identifying risk. This is the first step in managing project risk. Project managers can use a variety of techniques to identify risk, such as brainstorming, interviewing stakeholders, and reviewing historical data. Next is assessing risk. Once risks have been identified, they need to be assessed to determine their likelihood and impact. This will help project manager to prioritize the risk mitigation effort. Next is developing mitigation. Mitigation plans are strategies that are designed to reduce the likelihood or impact of a risk. Last is monitoring and controlling risk. Project managers need to monitor and control risks throughout the project lifecycle. This will help them to identify new risks and take action to mitigate existing risks. Let's proceed to the project risk management. Project risk management, the process concerned with identifying, analyzing, and responding to project risk, should be performed on a regular basis throughout the project. So meaning to say, project risk management is the process of identifying, analyzing, and responding to potential risks that could impact a project. It is an important part of project management as it can help to prevent problems from occurring and to minimize the impact of problems that do occur. There are 5 steps in the project risk management process. First is identify risk. The first step is to identify all the potential risks that could impact the project. It can be done by brainstorming, conducting interviews, and reviewing project documentation. Next is to analyze risk. Once the risks have been identified, they need to be analyzed. They need to be analyzed to determine their likelihood of occurring and their potential impact on the project. This can be done using a risk assessment matrix. Next is prioritize risk. Not all risks are created equally. Some risks are more likely to occur than others, and some will have greater impact on project if they do occur. The project manager needs to prioritize the risks so they can focus on the most important ones. Next is develop risk mitigation strategies. Once the risks have been prioritized, the project manager needs to develop mitigation strategies to reduce likelihood of the risk occurring or do minimize their impact. Last is monitor and control risk. This the manager the project manager needs to monitor the risks throughout the project to ensure that they are being managed effectively. If a risk does occur, the project manager needs to take appropriate action to respond it. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening.
Assalamualaikum and good day to each and everyone. I am Sahla S. Ayaw and let us proceed to my topic, which is the effective management. So we have here the 5 effective management. Number 1 is identify uncertainties. Explore the contracts and relationships for areas of uncertainty. So, in identifying uncertainties, kailangan ma-identify natin dito yung mga bagay na walang katiyakan sa ating project. Number 2, analyze risk. Specify how each uncertainty can impact performance duration, cost, and meeting requirements. So, sa analyze risk, kailangan malaman natin dito kung ano ba yung magiging epekto ng mga uncertainties dito sa ating projects. Also, ina-identify at ina-analyze natin dito yung mga potential issues na maaring makaapekto sa initiative or performance ng ating project. In addition, makakatulong ito para ma-mitigate or ma-avoid ang risk sa isang project. Number 3, prioritize risk. Establish risk to be eliminated too severe, requiring committed management attention, minor in effect. So, sa risk prioritization, ito yung process para ma-identify natin ang lahat ng risk sa loob ng isang projects. So, dito nalalaman natin kung anong risk ba ang pinakakailangan nating i-prioritize para hindi siya makaapekto sa isang project. Number 4, mitigate risk. Take advance action, reduce effect. It is better to spend on mitigation than to include contingency. So, sa mitigate risk, ito yung mga advance action natin or mga plan na ginagawa para ma-avoid ang risk sa isang projects. So, kapag na-mitigate na natin ang mga risk, makakatulong ito para madali natin ma-achieve ang objective or yung goal ng isang project. Number 5, plan for emergencies. For all significant risks, have an emergency plan in place. Measures and controls. track the effects of the risk identified and manage to a successful conclusion. So, sa measures and controls, nalalaman natin dito yung mga possible effect ng risk sa isang project. So, let us proceed to risk management measure steps. We have here the identification and assessment. So, identify all the possible risk event that could affect the client. So, dito kailangan natin ma-identify ang lahat ng possible risk na maaring makaapekto dun sa project natin. Internal risk, things that the team can control or influence. So, ang halimbawa ng internal risk is staff assignments and cost estimates. External risk, things beyond the control or influence of the team. So, ang halimbawa ng external risk is government bureaucracy. Ang risk identification may be accomplished by identifying causes and effects. So, sa causes and effect, malalaman natin dito what could happen and what will occur. Effect and causes, what outcomes are to be avoided or encouraged, and how each might occur. Number 2, risk assessment. Assess its risk in terms of probability, impact, severity, and controllability. So, sa risk assessment, i-assess natin dito ang probability ng risk at kung gaano ba kalakas ang impact at controllability nito. Involves risk analysis to develop understanding of each risk, its consequences, and the likelihood of those consequences. So, in risk analysis, nalalaman natin dito ang iba't ibang klase ng risk at na mga epekto nito sa isang project. Involves evaluating risk and risk interaction to make a decision about the level of priority of each risk. So, kapag na-evaluate na natin ang lahat ng risk, na-identify natin ang mga levels na kailangan nating i-prioritize. Assess the range of possible project outcomes and determines which risk events warrant purpose. So, sa part na ito, i-assess na natin ang magiging possible outcome ng project natin. So, madidetermine natin dito ang purpose ng pag-eliminate natin sa mga risks. So, let us proceed to steps for risk assessment. Reduce probability. So, ang halimbawa ng reduced probability is implement quality assurance, review contract condition, conduct further project analysis, increase supervision requirements, regularly analyze the project environment, and partnering team agreements. Number 2, reduce the consequences. Examples, contingency planning. So, when we say contingency planning, yan na yung mga advance action or plan na ginagawa natin para ma-avoid ang consequences ng ating project. Provide greater cost and time contingencies, increase charge for project. Transfer the risk. Ang halimbawa nito is subcontract some of the risky parts of the project, risk-sharing agreements with customers, other companies or government agencies, and umbrella insurance. So, sa accept the risk, ang halimbawa nito is management of the risk using existing procedure. Avoid the risk, so ang halimbawa ng avoid the risk is cease the activity affected to the risk. That's all for my part. By the way, I am Sahla S. Ayaw, and let us proceed to the next reporter.
So good day everyone, my name is Mary Angel Bibuot and I will be discuss the example of mitigation strategy. Mitigation strategy refers to a plan or set of actions aimed to reducing or minimizing the negative impact of a particular risk or threat. So, ang mitigation strategy is dito na yung kung saan magsiset tayo ng plan or alternative way in terms of risk or threat. So, na ma-encounter natin pag once na nagkakaroon ng calamities, hazard, or any circumstances related to our community. So, bago natin magawa, meron muna tayong ilang step para ma-develop natin ang mitigation strategy. Una is ang identify risk. So, kailangan muna natin i-identify risk, which is alamin muna natin ano nga ba ang magiging impact nito sa mga stakeholder and also yung specific situation. So, second is assess risk. Dito sa assess risk, kailangan muna natin i-evaluate yung likelihood or probability sa mga na-identified na risk para magkaroon ng priority na maiwasan yung threat na yon. So, last is regularly review risk para naman malaman natin if meron bang improvement sa sinasagawa nating strategies. If meron, ma-aware din sa mga ibang stakeholder na ginagawa natin ang lahat para maiwasan natin yung mga circumstances na risk and mabigyan natin ng solution if ever man magkaroon. Monitoring and controlling risk dynamically is an essential aspect of effective risk management. So, dito naman is kailangan natin ma-maintain yung mga possibilities risk na ma-encounter natin para sa mga stakeholder. So, para ma-assure din sila sa mga paparating na risk and also alam nila yung mga dapat at hindi dapat gawin. And also, it will need a regularly report para malaman if effective ba yung ginagawang monitoring na ginagawa natin. Program review in the context of medication strategy typically involved assessing the effectiveness and efficiency of a program. Kailangan natin magkaroon ng analyzation para magkaroon ng effective program para ma-achieve natin yung gusto natin na outcome para ma-solve yung mga identify issues and risk threat. Earned value reporting or EVR is a project management technique used to measure the progress and performance of a project. So, when it comes to medication strategy, EVR can be valuable tool for assessing the effectiveness of this strategy and addressing project risk. So, ito siya, isa siyang technique kung saan ma-measure natin yung process and performance para sa ginagawa nating project risk, which is yung medication strategy. So, dito rin natin malalaman yung mga potential na pwedeng tumama sa atin. Critical path assessment is a project management technique used to identify the sequence of activities that are crucial for the successful completion of a project. So, kailangan naman dito is magkaroon ng sequence or pagkakasunod-sunod na pag-conduct ng activities. So, para maging successful yung activities, and it will also help to determine the minimum time required para ma-minimize natin kung saan lang yung potential impact risk pag once na mag-success yung project. The context of mitigation strategy, a feedback loop refers to a process where the outcomes or impact of a mitigation action are monitored and used to inform and adjust future action. By implementing a feedback loop in mitigation strategy, organization and policymakers can learn from past experiences, make data-driven decisions, and continuously improve their efforts to reduce emissions and address climate change. So, ang feedback loop, it is a process where the outcome impact of mitigation action. So, dito kailangan pa rin natin na ma-monitor yung possibilities, threat para sa future, alam na natin paano siya ma-prevent or masolusyonan. So, magkaroon tayo ng goals na ma-reduce yung particular risk issue na posibleng nangyayari. Proceed to fourth step of mitigation strategy. So, step 1 is risk identification. Analyze the project to identify sources of risk, known risk. So, sa isang project, is mahalagang ma-identify mo na yung mga possible source na mga risk para malaman natin yung mga negative impact na gagawin sa project if may problema occur in the future or in the process of doing the project, malalesen yung losses or yung mga damages. Step 2, risk assessment. Assess risks in terms of severity of impact and likelihood of occurring. So, dito na papasok yung SWOT, yung strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and yung threats ng isang project. Executing risk assessment, reduce risk. Kapag unprepared ang isang project plans, maaaring yung mga scope ng damages or threat is malaki ang impact. So, severity of impact means na-access natin kung gaano kalubha ang impact ng risk or threat. Ang likelihood of occurring naman is dito natin ina-access yung mga probability chance na mangyayari kapag may risk. So, if na-access na agad natin yung mga possible na outcomes. Step 3, risk response development. Develop strategy to reduce possible damage. So, ito siya, very self-explanatory. So, ito yung ginagawa nating strategy to reduce possible outcomes pero mas dinidevelop and ini-enhance lang siya para mas effective ang response sa mga threat or risk. Last is step 4, risk response control. Implement risk strategy and monitor and adjust plan for new risk. So, kailangan mo i-implement yung identified risk response strategy na tinatawag and continuously monitoring the project. And sa pag-adjust naman is adjusting as needed to address new risks that may arise. So, kumbaga, in this step, regularly reassessing and adapting the plan can assure effective risk management throughout the project cycle. So, that's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rasmia G. Dutumano. My assigned topic is the example of a risk management plan, the Padre DF template. Example of a risk management plan is the Padre DF template. This template is very crucial for risk management in projects as it provides a structured approach to assessing and addressing risk by considering various factors. This comprehensive template helps us in prioritizing risk and to develop effective strategies for risk mitigation and contingency planning. WBS, or the work breakdown structure. This is the total scope of a work to be carried out by the project team. So we should break down the project into smaller, manageable components, facilitating better understanding, organizing, and control. The WBS is essential for a project success as it defines the scope, ensure clarity in project tasks, and assist in resource allocation and scheduling. So this, by the help of this WBS, pwedeng ma-manage ng mabuti yung project mo at maiwasan na magkaroon ng problema na pwedeng magdulot ng mas malaking epekto doon sa project nyo. The seriousness, or the S, and probability as P. Seriousness refers to the impact or severity of a risk that levelized with high, medium, low, while probability assesses the likelihood of the risk occurring, high, medium, and low. Understanding S and P is a big help for the project, especially to prioritize the risk na pwedeng may malaking impact doon sa project mo. So, high S and P risk is nagre-require siya ng immediate action and proactive measure para ma-prevent yung mga negative consequences na maaaring mangyari doon sa project natin. So, for preventive action, attend to high in seriousness problems. Meaning, ang preventive action is proactive measures to be taken para ma-avoid or ma-minimize yung impact ng identified risk, particularly doon sa mga high seriousness and probability. Ang aim nito is to eliminate, to reduce the likelihood of risk occurring. For contingency actions, what to do if preventive action fails? So, what should we do if the preventive action fails? We have to do backup plans to formulated para ma-address yung potential risk na pwede na if preventive action fail. Pag na-fail yung preventive action natin, dapat may mga backup plans tayo. May option tayo na pwedeng maitapat doon sa problem if the preventive action fails. These actions provide a secondary approach to mitigate the impact of unforeseen events, ensuring project resilience. For triggers, what will tell you to implement contingency action? So ito yung mga events or indicators na nagsisignal the need to implement contingency actions. Ito yung mga nagsisilbing warning signs prompting the project team to initiate predefined strategies when specific conditions or events occur. This is very important. This is very significant in achieving project success. We should know, we should understand what is Padro DF template or how to have a risk management plan para maiwasan natin yung mga ganung pangyayari. So, by understanding and implementing preventive, contingency actions, and triggers are integral to effective risk management. Proactive addressing risk minimize disruptions, pwede rin ma-enhance yung project nyo, and increases the likelihood of a successful project completion. These measures contribute to improved decision making, stakeholder satisfaction, and overall project success. That is all.
Pag-uugali ng tao ang behavior human. Ang behavior human ay maaaring tukuyin bilang isang tugon at ang human behavior ay tumutukoy sa hanay ng mga behavior na ipinakita ng mga tao at na-impluwensya ng paligid nito ng direkta at hindi direkta. Isa sa pinakamainam na mahalagang bagay sa organizational behavior ay ang pag-unawa sa pag-uugali ng tao. Dahil ang pagkakaroon ng organisasyon ay nakasalalay sa mga pag-uugali ng mga empleyado o individual. Ang mga organisasyong ito ay binubuo ng mga individual at bawat individual ng pag-uugali. Unavailability of internal technical o hindi pagkakaroon ng internal na technical. Unavailability of external technical expertise, hindi pagkakaroon ng panlabas na technical na kadalubhasan. Lack of staff support for project delays and partner beneficiary approvals, kakulangan ng suporta ng mga tauhan para sa proyekto, mga pagkakantala sa mga aproba ng kasosyo o beneficiaryo. Delays in documentation, mga pagkakantala sa documentation. Scope and schedule, unreality of stated deadline, inadequate project definition. Unreality ng nakasaad na deadline, hindi sapat na kahulugan ng proyekto. Standard is incompatible with requirements, design incorporates high maintenance materials, mga pamantay ang hindi tumutugma sa mga kinakailangan na disenyo, nagsasama ng mataas ng mga materyales sa pagpapanatili, lack of resource ability, poor coordination of resources, requirement of flexibility, kakulangan ng pagkakaroon ng mapagkukunan, mahina ang koordinasyon ng mga mapagkukunan, kinakailangan ang kawalan ng kakayahang umangkop. Ang organisasyon ng proyekto ay isang proseso na nagbibigay ng mga kaayusan at desisyon tungkol sa pagsasakatuparan para proseso ng proyekto. Ang mga gawain tulad ng pag-oorganisa ng proseso ng proyekto, pagpaplano ng mga balangkas ng proyekto. Example nito is mga gastos, deadline, tawan at iba pa ay dapat isagawa. Ang lahat ng mga kinakailangan sa proyekto ay dapat ibigay sa mga stakeholder ng proyekto sa panahon ng prosesong ito. Sa pangkalahatan ng organisasyon ng proyekto ay ang structuring, organisasyon at pagsasaayos pati na rin ang proseso ng proyekto ayon sa plano. Ito ay nagbibigay ng teamwork ng mga kalahok. Magpatuloy bilang musay hanggat maaari ayon sa mga nakasingit na mga patakaran, pamantayan at halagayan ng proyekto. Ang mga tungkulin at responsibilidad ay nahati. Ang mga patakaran ng pagtutulungan ay natutukoy at ang sistema ng impormasyon ay tinutukoy sa panahon ng When should risk management be performed? Program planning very important kasi para aware ang bawat isa kung ano ba ang mga plano na dapat gawin pag nasa ganong sitwasyon na. During solicitation, which means request for information. Example is asking or requesting for someone information na nasalanta ng sakuna para mabigyan sila ng tulong. During performance, after performance, a continuous process result in communication. Communication is the key. Communication is very important in everything. We should try to communicate para matulungan tayo sa kung anumang problema ang meron tayo. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat.